Hey everybody. Sometimes I get a question in, and it's so much the thing that we need to be talking about. I'm just so delighted to see it. It's really short, um, but it's like a key one. Hi Claire, I feel so caught up in victim mode. I'm doing my best to meet what is showing up, but so much is showing up that I'm feeling I can't cope. My body, my mind is worn out. Life seems such a struggle. Oh yeah. Yeah, totally, isn't it? When because this is the thing, the moment there is that identification with ourselves as a victim, and that then is the lens through which the world is seen, through which our self is seen. It's just a pile on, isn't it? It's just a pile on of all the wrongs in the world against me. This is personal. And I'm within that victim mode because the victim mode is entirely about separation, isn't it? It's entirely about identification with. So all these things have happened and they've happened to me. And it's not just that things happen, which is how things are really. They're just happening, but somehow there's a within them, there's a direction against me, like it's happening to make me feel bad. Why has this happened to me? We say, as though it was directed personally to create unhappiness and unease here. And even like the weather, oh, of today of all days, it's raining. Like it's personal. And so if we're doing it for the weather and it looks real, like actually in that moment it looks real that the weather is actually turned against us, just think how much more personal and gripping and identified we in when someone is actually to our face nasty, or we're left out of something, or someone rips us off, or of course, like if we're taking the weather personally, when it actually looks like it looks personal, they're literally saying, Claire, you're rubbish. I'm Claire, I'm not inviting you here, or Claire, I don't want to be your friend anymore, or Claire, you know lend me £1,000 and I'm gonna disappear off the face of the earth, like directed at us. Imagine how personal everything is seeming. And so, me as a victim, oh, sorry, me as a victim is such a powerful, powerful orientation of separation. It's the origin of it is me as separate, me as hard done by, me as on the receiving end of other people's nastiness, other people's intent to do harm. And here I am. And I'm desperate in that. I'm desperate to try and find wholeness because I'm in the midst of separation. I'm desperate to try and find peace. And so I'm looking out through that lens of victim, through that desperation to try and find peace. And all I see is more reasons why the world is against me. Everywhere I look, everything I try and cling on to is like whisked away. No, like it's not saying, no, you're not having that. You're the victim. The world is against you. And so there's this simultaneous desperation to find stability through the most ultimately unstable lens. So it's really understandable, and it's really understandable how this is like the ultimate vicious circle. It's never ending from the moment that victim space is believed. It's just layer after layer after layer after layer of what's wrong with me and why the world is out to get me. So what do we do with it? What do we do with this victim mode? Well, there's so much to be seen in identification as a victim, because it's, and this is the ironic thing, the sort of confronting thing, is for the ego identity, there is tremendous security in there. It's a defining space of what I am. You know, like for an identity, like a fractured identity trying to find somewhere to land, it's awesome because it's so robust, really. This sense of myself is victimized. So robust for the identity to cling on to that, really. And there's just evidence everywhere that proves it's right. And it's robust in the sense that it's entirely about me and them, me versus the weather, me versus the driver that cut me up in traffic, me versus the shopkeeper that gave me the wrong change, me versus the family members that are you know, cutting me out or talking about me behind my back or taking inheritance that I'm, you know, whatever it is, me versus them. And it looks like peace will be found in the world being nice to us, in these wrongs being righted, it looks like it will be found in people apologizing to us, in the world being restored to how we think it should be. And that, of course, is never going to happen because we're looking through this lens and our behavior is so victim-based, so alienating, so the behavior is directly reflecting this sort of anger at a world that is unkind to us. And so the entire system really is revolving in this space of separation and isolation. And this is another irony, there's a element of, in this moment of security within that identity, there's a sort of superiority in being a victim, isn't there? I'm good, you're bad. I'm innocent, you're evil. I don't harm people, you do. That there's a sort of untouchable, I don't have to look at my own behavior because this is all about your behavior. This is all about the world out there. It's not about me. And so this refuge of identification and no requirement whatsoever to look at our own behavior, our own patterns, our own way of being with other people, just like sort of keeps this whole identity like really locked in, really stabilizing this sense of separation. And it will just go on, won't it? There's no relief from it. As long as it's believed, as long as we're looking for peace within it, as long as the world has to change for me to be okay, all of that just maintains this cycle. And so what do? We see that sense of victimization. We see how it protects our own behavior. We see how it pushes other people away, the world away. We see how it's an isolation. And then when we're ready, we just, and I think this is the most powerful thing of all to do, really. And honestly, I thank the universe every day for Byron Katie's work, because what she does gets to the heart of victimization, of really seeing how my own behavior is the same. In some way, what I'm doing is the same as what they do. In some way, my behavior is maintaining this setup. There's an accountability that has to come from no self, because there is no self doing it. It's learned behavior. It's from conditioning. There's no choice in it. It's just what's been happening. And while there's just unconsciousness to this setup, then there really is no possibility of change. It's just the program running. But now we sort of get to step out and see this program, see what is being created. Is this really true? We can ask ourselves. See the behavior, see how that's maintaining the very things that we're trying to avoid. Apologizing, the Hawaiian method of I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you, I love you. That bringing it in here to take full no self ownership for this these patterns that are only ever, what's out there is only a reflection ever of what's going on here. And all of that, and I think above all to that sense of being a victim, when it creeps in and it sort of starts to get a grip of the mind and the body, and that's like Rupert Spira having a hand on a hot oven. That's the warning sign. It's like saying, oh yeah, okay, everything is heading in a direction now which is endless, and which is nothing, like the listener said, I'm exhausted, I'm struggling within this. Yeah, it's absolutely exhausting, because it's an attempt to find peace within a belief structure that is separating itself out from peace. And so that grip of poor me, which we all know, don't we? Really, we all know. And it's so justifiable, really. The things that we live through, it's really justifiable to think poor me. And so let's, just have that feeling moment, of the will being against me, poor me, but to try within it to find peace through, trying to control things, trying to find other people, make them responsible. It's endless search, but just let it, indulge, I think, really indulge poor me without it becoming the without it being taken seriously, really. Yeah, fair enough, poor me, things happen and they look personal, but maybe the thing is the deep knowing inside that the peace, the freedom, the possibility that is being searched for within that belief will never be found. The peace and the freedom are found by seeing that crunch of identification. So it's absolutely cool. It seems to me seeing myself as a victim is the ultimate space of separation, really. And also, not least, so just to add this on, not least because contained within it is the idea of blame, that people are choosing to create harm to me that is objectively perceived. So it's based within the fallacy of a individual chooser. So the whole thing, the entirety of it is based in confusion, and zero freedom in it. The truth will set us free, and there's no truth in it. Yeah, it's a hopeless place to be, exhausting. Yeah, so we hang out in what's true, and see it for what it is. Yeah, so much love. Bye.